Live. Joseph, how you doing?
Hey, Rich, great to be here.
I also love the Dublin accent or the Ireland accent. So I just naturally fall in love with you people.
Of course, that's what we're here for.
So you are a facial analyst, an expert in lie detector and in clear sight communication. Before we get into your chapter, what in the world is that all about?
Yeah, I've for many years now, I've worked with an ancient Chinese skill, which is literally reading people's static facial features. But I've also done a lot of study of body language. I've done a lot of work online with former FBI trainers in negotiation, body language, interrogation. So I listen to what people are saying, but I also listen for what they're not saying, what they're avoiding, and I look at what their face is telling me, whether their face is telling me the same as what their words are saying.
Fascinating. Now, how has that helped you as an entrepreneur? Does that directly overlay as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I'm having to negotiate. I'm having to communicate. I'm having to convince people that what I'm saying, that I'm real. I'm having to get my message across to people in the way they need to receive it. Because one of the mistakes we tend to make is we come from where we're coming from, rather than connecting with people where they're at or where they want to be. So I'm tailoring my message and helping others in terms of my training. I'm helping others to tailor their message to the people they're speaking to or they aspire to speak to.
So your chapter is entitled A Game of Three Halves.
Yeah, absolutely.
So first of all, that's bad math, but that's okay. We'll let that slide. But can you highlight what are the three halves that you wrote about?
Yeah, I must reread the chapters. It seems like a lifetime ago. Yeah, I titled it Three Halves because I just like to introduce a bit of humor to things anyway. Because I guess I was a therapist for 30 years. And I've dealt with a lot of people in places of deep pain, and some of my chapter is about deep pain. Mm-hmm. And really, it's the key point for me in essence is that entrepreneurship can be a lonely place, but no matter what pain you might feel in the process, there's always a way through, and that's one of the blessings of this process, but also this community. That the Eamon touched on it with collaboration, and there's been so much support, not just in terms of the writing, but in terms of what it's brought up for people in the writing process, and the doubts, the memories, even in some cases, and the doubts that it brings up in terms of, oh, can I do this? Where can I go from here? So there's been so much incredible support there, and that's it's probably not so much spoken about in the book, but it's one of the things to remind ourselves that the importance of community, the importance of people. We're in an age of AI and all of that, but it still comes down to people, connection, community, communication.
So it also sounds like it's almost therapeutic for you to write this out and relive some story, bring it to paper. Did it feel that way after a while?
Yeah, but it wasn't therapeutic in the sense that I wasn't processing a lot of deep pain. It was actually keeping the vision of why we're writing the book in the first place. Yeah. You're writing it to encourage people, to inspire people, to give people a lift when they're down, and to remind them that there's always light out there. There's always light ahead.
Now, there's a quote from your particular part of the book that I actually loved. It says, if I were to sum myself up in 2 words, it would be, don't follow rules. Mm-hmm. Can you explain that?
Yeah, absolutely. Give me a rule and I want to break it. Like we're natural rebels here in Ireland anyway. But I steer clear from the sort of the violence that might be associated, but rebellious in terms of humor, winding people up, as we say here, busting your chops, I think you say in the US and Canada, and bringing humor in because humor is an essential component in life. And one of the things I love is research by the Harvard psychologist Sean Achor. He's written a book called The Happiness Advantage, but his research shows that we're actually 31% more intelligent when we're happy.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow, well then I'm a genius. I'm having fun all the time.
That was what I'm saying, Rich.
When you share those things in the book, well, let me rephrase it. What's your favorite part of your chapter? What's the thing that grabbed you, or maybe you had to wrestle with longer to put it out there? Well, what's your favorite part of it?
It might sound a little odd, but probably the part about where I talk about my father's death, where he died suddenly, unexpectedly, was really traumatic. But it brought up so much love for me about my father. It brought up such a depth of feeling. And my father really has been my model. He's been gone many years, like his anniversary is next week, but he's been gone many years, but he is the model that I aspire to live by in terms of his integrity, his values, his commitment to, like Eamon's father, commitment to service.
That's interesting you say that, Joseph, because as I read the book, as I prepared for today, the father theme and the loss of someone close really has empowered many of you to move forward because of the memories, the stories. Did you realize how much of an impact your father did have on you throughout your rest of your life?
Yeah, and I'm always learning. Even though it's what, 37 years this year, there's always something new. There's always a sense of not in a ghostly way, but it's like I feel his influence on me, and particularly if I'm going off course, it's like yeah, you know your values, stick with it.
And values came up with another concurrent theme throughout the book as well. So what are some of your values when you are an entrepreneur leading out? What would you say are some of your core essence values?
You got to care. You got to care about the people you're dealing with. Again, the quote from Eamon's father, service to your fellow man.
Yeah.
And it's so deep, it's so profound, and you have to care about the people you connect with, the people you work with, even if they're not paying clients. You have to feel empathy for them, and you have to be willing to go whatever the extra mile is to be of service.
Even if they're not the paying client. So far, that's the best line so far of the day, right there. You got it, Joseph. When you've not read the book completely yet, right? You've not read, because we're just releasing it here today. In fact, as I bring this back up, this is the Canadian link for those in Canada. Grab the link at the QR code. Are you excited to read what the others in the group have written? Because you do know each other. You are hanging out virtually a lot, but how excited are you to read the other chapters?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm so privileged that I have the opportunity to read. I've read some so far, but I knew some of the people very well already. But even some of their stories are just wow. Excitement isn't the right word. It deepens my appreciation of them. It deepens their value for me as human beings, not just as entrepreneurs. And it makes me want to be of service to them also in a far, far deeper way.
As I've read this is my observation, but we're international here today. 22 different authors, different countries, but we're not that different in entrepreneurship. Have you caught that as well, that we're really not that different?
Yeah, so many of us really are coming from the same place. Again, it's care. It's always looking to bring greater clarity to what we do, to why we do it, how we do it, who we're doing it for, and the level of not just support, but the level of resonance that we're sharing within the group. And as I say, some people you know already, some people you don't know so well, but there's so many synchronicities that have occurred during the writing process, and in the group chats, in the individual chats, that it's, oh wow, yes, you get it, yeah.
In this crazy mixed up world, do you find comfort knowing that we are more alike than we are different when we do things like this? When you sit and chat or read the stories, really, we're all pretty similar.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I'm probably privileged in my background. My younger sister is Down syndrome. My older daughter is gay. My nephew is black. My partner is Chinese. So,
We have the whole UN right there. There we go, right there.
Yeah.
Before I let you go, what would you want the readers to get out of your story? And again, they're very personal, they're very deep. I want everyone to realize what you're reading is very painful, gut-wrenching, and fun sometimes. But what do you want people to really take away from reading about Joseph?
Yeah, that there's always a light. There is always a light ahead. There's always something to draw us forward. And even when we're feeling alone, low, it's looking dark, There's always a light there, and really, more than anything, it's to go within. Just let all the fluff, all the nonsense just drop away. Take a breath, find reason to smile, step forward again.
It sounds so simple, Joseph, but we all know it's not, right?
Well, that's the point, Rich. It is. We just convince ourselves it's not. And I've been a master of that.
There you go. Joseph, thank you for being with us here today. And again, congratulations on the launching of your book. We look forward to getting it out there to the rest of the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich.